Let's quickly recap what we have covered with type synonyms before. We know that one way in which we can represent a date is as a 3-tuple, and in order to make it clear which part of the tuple corresponds to the day, month and year, we've created these type synonyms. And we can use those type synonyms in our type signatures to create more readable dates. Whilst this does indeed aid readability, the underlying type is always an int, and as such, it is still possible to get confused and give values that result in an invalid date, like so. Fortunately, there are better alternatives which can be used depending on the situation. One of these is known as datatype renaming. Datatype renamings are another kind of synonym which offer better type safety. It is great in the situation when we may have a type which can be used perfectly to represent something, but in order to aid readability and increase type safety, we would like it to be called something else. In order to declare a datatype renaming, we write a Newtype declaration. A Newtype declaration creates a new type which has the same representation as an existing type, but which has a separate identity in the type system. Let's have a look at some examples. Here we have 3 Newtype declarations, one for day, one for month and one for year. You can see that they begin with the keyword Newtype, followed by the name of the type we want to create, and then the equal sign. After the equal sign, there is what is known as a constructor. These are what we need to use to create values of the type. The constructor takes a single argument. In this case, for each of the types, the argument is always an int. How would we create an instance of a 3-tuple representing a date now? In this case, we need to call the constructors to create the relevant instances of the type. This is in contrast to when using a type synonym which does not require any use of a constructor. Now what happens when we try to create an invalid date like we did before? Well, in that case, the code does not even compile. We get told where the expected type is day, we have given a month, and where the expected type is month, we have given a day. You can see why using a Newtype declaration is more type safe than using simple synonyms. The Newtype declaration is very similar to the declaration for type synonyms, so let's make it clear what exactly the difference is. Unlike a type synonym, which is actually just a synonym for an existing type, like I said before, a new type will be treated like a completely separate type than the thing it wraps. A restriction which you should know about when it comes to Newtype declarations is that they can only have a single constructor with exactly one field in it. We will cover constructors in more depth later on when we look at union types, which do not have this restriction and so can have multiple constructors. Since the Newtype declaration will only ever contain a single constructor with a single field, you can see why it's also known as a datatype renaming. For example, in our case, the day, month and year types are kind of just datatype renamings for an int. For additional information, check out section 4.2.3 in the Haskell 2010 report and the article on Newtype declarations on the Haskell wiki. Some of the concepts we discussed here, like constructors, will be covered in much more depth later on in the module, so don't worry if you don't understand them fully right now. I've just shown you how to make Newtype declarations so that you are aware of them. It is not important to necessarily use them for a beginner. This video is a clip from a longer video for beginners starting with Haskell. Check that out if you would like to see all of the content. Also check out the entire Introduction to Functional Programming with Haskell course on the Learn channel. See you next time.